I think we're trending positive. They still have a long way to go, but it was better.
We're trending positive. It was better from it had a better vibe to it. So I don't know if that's our most hated producer's fault or if it's because everybody's kind of vibing aside from JT.
Maybe all encompassing. I don't know, but it was. Look,
let's lump it all together.
Southern charm is better.
Bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows. Bros and shows. Bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bros and Shows. I'm your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the one and only Springtime McGee. What's up, dude?
Not a whole lot. St. Patty's celebration tomorrow, baby. Yeah. I also found, so I don't know. Do you know what?
I almost said your full government name. Oh my God. So I was going to make an Irish joke.
Wow.
And I
don't do that.
I know. I didn't dox you.
All right.
I almost doxed you.
Are you aware of splitting the G?
Yeah, on the Guinness. Yeah. What?
Yeah. Okay.
Are you? I'm a raging alcoholic. Yes, I know about all of those things.
Well, you know, somebody developed a website that you can use to take a picture and upload it to the website, and it gives you an out of 5 rating, and then gives you tips and tricks.
I love that, actually.
Yeah. So that's going to be me all day tomorrow.
Oh, I know. You're going to abuse that app. They're going to block you from the amount of.
They're probably going to block me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing too, because I've gotten it down. So I'm just going to try to achieve perfection. But, you know, I don't miss the G that much.
My favorite part, honestly, is that I know you, and if you do a good one and they rate you like a 2, you're going to fucking rampage.
Oh, dude, yeah. I'm not going to leave them any bad reviews because there's ramifications to that, but I will tell everybody around me that this is bullshit.
Yeah, this app sucks. Don't use it. It's so stupid. Yeah, if they give you like a 2 out of 5, you're big, nope, I'm done. And you're going to take
I'll write an angry email.
Yeah, that sounds right. We got a lot of emails to write, but we're here to talk a little Southern charm. It was, I don't know if it was a nothing episode because there were things that moved forward. I think just the vibe, like you said, the overall vibe was lighter. Maybe that's Craig and Austen becoming friends again. So it kind of settles the rest of the group down. We've talked about that like all season, where these two not being cordial definitely throws a rift in the rest of the group. Like, which I don't think their friendship isn't like integral in other people's lives. It's just those two are such a mainstay on the show. When you have two of like the top dogs on the show not vibing on any show across the board, Housewives, Summer House, whatever, it tends to rock the group a little bit. And for these types of shows like Summer House, Southern Hospitality, Vanderpump, whatever, when the cast is not getting along, it's much more detrimental overall than like a housewife show, because you can have people not like each other on those. When it happens in these settings, it definitely weighs more.
I think there's also, and this is when the show comes into play, when 2 of the heavy hitters, 2 of the mainstays on the cast aren't agreeing on things, the rest of the cast talks about it constantly.
That's
so it gets old very quickly, unless there's new information that pops up. People are talking shit on someone else, and then it kind of like all snowballs into an entire group that are like picking sides essentially. Then it can get a little bit more fun. But when it's something like this, everyone's like, oh my God, Austen and Craig, Austen and Craig, Austen and Craig. And it's like, I don't really need you to weigh in on this anymore. I just want them to figure it out so we can move forward. It's the same thing for, like you said, with Housewives. Enough of just putting 2 people against each other, unless it's going to be a knockdown, drag out fight that's going to be really entertaining to watch. If it's just 2 people talking in their own groups, I don't want to watch it anymore. Let's just get back together in some way, shape, or form and move forward, because we're over it. So I think we are. And next week's the season finale for PSA for everybody out there. So, you know, we don't have it feels like this season flew by.
I think we've been doing it for 2 weeks.
I know. And I know they had 3 episodes down in the Bahamas, so that might have something to do with it, because it did feel long at times, and then it felt really short at the end of this episode when they said it was the season finale next week. So I think it's more just that, like, really what we're seeing is just the Craig and Austen thing and TJ and Venita. Nothing else is really going on. Like, yeah, there's some interpersonal stories. There's, you know, a couple of newbies that are making a splash. Shep's dating dilemma. But not a lot of substance really happened. And now that Craig and Austen are back together and it seems like everything's cool, really next week it's just, all right, let's see what this fallout looks like with Craig and Paige. And we're going to see it. And I think they're doing a really good job. I'm sure the producers from Southern Charm and Summer House are in cahoots at some point, because when you go and watch Summer House, you'll get Paige's raw emotions, her feelings on the matter. everything that's going on in their relationship at this point in July. And you'll see like different edits and different flashbacks to different things that Craig was doing. And I love that in this episode in particular, we get flashbacks, but it's Craig and Kyle. So I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, they're putting this up for next week's Summer House. You guys are working together. It's like the whole cinematic universe. This is great.
Yeah, it's like the Marvel universe, only Bravo, and that's what they should do, honestly. And that should like
They really should lead into that. I agree.
Yeah, if they're going to continue crossing people on different shows, and obviously this is because they were dating, but
yeah,
there's something there where it's like more transplants. We need people moving around. Like that's fun because you get different dynamics. Have a cast.
Let's force people to date.
Yeah, arranged marriages. Let's just do all of it. Who gives a shit at this point? Like
we've got Sally and Jesse over here. We've got West and let's throw Sienna in there. I think Sienna would like West. Why not? Let's do that and bring Sienna onto the show, and then we'll just get a lot of crossovers. And we won't ever go back to Stowe because Winter House was awful.
Yeah, well, God, fuck Winter House. But I like just start like every restaurant now has to do a collab with some other restaurant, and it's usually mediocre. Do that.
That's annoying. Yeah,
isn't it the most annoying thing? And like
it is so frustrating.
Like you get a collab with like two like big time restaurants. Like fuck yeah, then you try. You're like, this is it. Like stop collabing. Focus on your own menu. This doesn't make sense to me.
They're spending so much capital and like headspace on just the marketing aspect and saying like people are gonna buy this, and then you get there and you're like, this is fucking awful. Can you just go back to what you do? Like,
do you know what the only good thing to come out of restaurant collabs is, in my opinion? The t-shirts. They make a great t-shirt to sell. Cool. Yeah, cool t-shirt. Two of my favorite restaurants. The food, subpar. Stick to what you're good at. So that's we need that in the Bravo universe. Well, maybe we don't. Maybe I just proved the point. It doesn't work. I don't know.
Actually, I'm speaking of restaurants, and I am a little hungry right now, but I am trying a cheesesteak that I haven't tried before that is pretty highly rated. So I'm excited about that tonight. What's that?
Uncle Gus?
I've had Uncle Gus. Uncle Gus is really good. Did you see the Philly Inquirer was bitching about it?
Yeah, they fucking put him on blast.
Who cares what the Philly Inquirer has to say? They're already talking shit on the Eagles. We just won the Super Bowl. Shut up. No, Del Rossi's.
Oh, I heard Del Rossi's a solid.
Yeah, I've heard it's really good.
There's one more newcomer.
Not the Bradley Cooper one up in New York, right?
No. Fuck that one. No shade to Bradley Cooper, but I don't care about his restaurant.
It's okay.
No, Uncle Gus's was the one making waves, and then there's one more that's downtown. Fuck, what was it? I'll think of it. I can't remember.
Yeah, if you think of it,
there's one more. Me. Yeah, but anyway, let's get to Southern Charm, and we start out first of all with something very relatable to myself. As you know, in my minor league life, I frequented casinos in bumfuck towns.
Dude,
what?
Do you remember when we went to DC for the live show and I came home with like $200 worth of chips?
Yeah. Did you feel like when he did that, I was like, I've done this so many times. No, you can't send it. I don't think.
I love Tyler's response. Like, can you just mail it to them? It's like, no, you can't. Like, that kind of makes sense, but the no. And it's not just like a currency that you can walk into a casino. You can't go to like Sugar House and walk in there and just bring in some DC casino. Nope, doesn't work. Unless you're going back there, you are screwed. I think it's still sitting around my apartment somewhere.
Oh, no, I have probably $600 in poker chips or casino chips in my like bedside table that, just there.
I don't know if it's better or worse if I have the ones, because I've gotten drunk at poker tables or blackjack tables and I have the actual like chip markers for that blackjack table.
Oh no.
That's pretty bad. I know. Well, you get drunk and you just grab a pile and walk away. They're probably yelling at you like, sir, and then it doesn't really work.
You're like, yeah, no.
Or if it's worse to like actually get to the point where you do get cashed out, but then you never actually go to the cashier. So
I've done that. I've gone home with, oh man, West Virginia. I got back to our home field 12 hours away, or not 12, like 8 hours away from this casino with $1,200 in chips that I couldn't use.
There's nothing you can do at that point.
Yeah, tough. So I felt, you know what, Rod, I felt you, bro. I felt that one. And I know Shooter did too. We literally did that at a live show. Shooter came home with like $200 in chips, but let's get to Craig and Paige. And as we saw in Summer House, as we've been getting hints of all season here, you're starting to see the turn, right? You're starting to see these two grow apart. She clearly wants different things now than she did. Not that she ever wanted the same life as Craig. She was more open to the idea, I think, until Giggly Squad really took off. So now she's presented with this crazy opportunity to, tour the country. I'm sure they're probably going to do an international tour at some point. Like, they're really fucking massive now. So her life has shifted. It's quite clear that she doesn't want the same thing. She's being a little bit more brazen in their conversations. It's not as, we'll see. It's more so like, I'm not doing that. And on
Right.
the flip side, you're seeing Craig is starting to get more standoffish and borderline resentful because he's like trying to figure it out. That's not what this conversation is about. I'm just painting the
No.
picture overall, but
Well, it's because we sort of pick up where we left off yesterday when we were recapping Summer House. It's
right.
the same thing. We're
Correct.
seeing the fallout, a couple of months later, but we're watching it. It's kind of weird. We're watching it in like reverse, where we
I
see
know,
a
it's
little bit
strange.
more in July, but now we're going back, and this is probably like May or June at this point in Southern Charm. So it's kind of a weird way to watch it timeline wise, but all encompassing, it's pretty much the same conversation. We're just seeing different parts of it.
Yeah, but this specific conversation is in regards to the Bahamas and Austen and the breakthrough that they had. I got nervous for a split second just with what he was
Yeah.
saying. I was like, oh, fuck, dude, you're going to throw him back under the bus? Like, you guys are
Mhm.
cool. But he goes on to say, we get the whole thing. I'm sober because I'm an addict, and something seemed to click for Austen, which is great. And I liked this scene as a whole, especially
Mhm.
bouncing it back and forth between Austen and Katie, his sister, and then back to Craig and Paige, because they didn't try to bring the friendship up as much. It was more so about how Craig felt admitting that he was an addict. And to answer a lot of people, I know we talked about it last week, but a lot of people had the same question. He's talking about sobriety while drunk holding a bottle of champagne.
Yeah.
Is that the best representation? No. But the overall underlying theme of sobriety in that moment is we don't know what his relationship with alcohol is.
Sure.
This might have been a one-off moment. I don't know if Craig is saying I'm never drinking again. I'm fully sober. Like, it's
it's not really for us to say either what he's
That's
actually planning on doing.
Yes.
And my best guess at this point would just be he's trying to readdress or reevaluate his relationship with alcohol. And
Mhm.
he's acknowledging, like, yes, I am an addict in the sense that I can't control myself when I do start drinking. When I start drinking, I have to continue to drink, and I have to drink more and finish this bottle of Jaeger or whatever it might be, and then move forward. And now I'm a complete asshole. I'm doing things that I don't want to do. I've got no control over my life. And that's what he doesn't want. So he could just be in this place. And yeah, maybe a couple of years from now, he goes full sober. Again, not for us to say, but he could just be reevaluating. And that means certain times when he's back in Charleston and he can control himself, he stays home. When he's on vacation, it's probably a little bit harder, like he's walking around with a bottle of champagne, maybe, or he's letting loose. There could be something in there where he's drawing some sort of boundaries where he can go let loose at the Bahamas on vacation, but he's not going to do that back home because there's no sense in doing that. And he's just trying to control what he can, and he's trying to find his way through this. So it's not like a cut and dry black and white. He shouldn't be drinking while he's talking about being an addict. It's like not really the same thing.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
You have gotten so knowledgeable on this topic, and it makes me smile. But like I said, they're bouncing things back and forth between these two scenes, and it really resonated with me when he was saying, I felt paper thin when I said I was an addict to him. Like, it is empowering, but it made me feel like paper thin. I was like, that's a really good way to put it, because there is something freeing about admitting it to people. Like, you finally have this elephant in the room is finally addressed, and you can finally present yourself as you actually are. But at the same time, it's stamping this scarlet letter on your chest where it's like, yep, this is me forever. I'm forever and always an addict. But I thought they did a nice job of explaining it, and also explaining the other side of it with Austen, who's like, I should have known, and I should have seen the signs. And that's another thing. It's like everyone says that afterwards, after the fact, and it's the hindsight game will absolutely ruin you. But
I'm happy that Austen even said that and identified it, because over the last week, the discourse has been, if you're Austen, how do you not see this? When somebody says I'm staying at home because I don't want to go out and drink, like, how are you not first identifying it and saying he's trying to either be sober or change his life in some way that involves alcohol, and he doesn't want to do that, and I feel like I'm enabling him. It's like that you're giving him. Nobody really can ever get that much credit. I mean, if somebody comes up with that on their own with one of their best friends and says, yeah, I need to respect what he's doing and be here for him while he's going through this, based off of the information of what Craig was giving Austen and what we've heard, it's got to be a really tough situation. He's too close to it. Yeah, us, a third party from 5,000 feet, can look down and be like, what are you doing, Austen? You should have seen that. But he didn't. And now he's taking ownership of that. He feels bad. He genuinely feels bad while he's talking to Katie. So I'm happy that he got that out now, because over the last week, everybody's been talking about that. That's not fair.
That's not fair. It's honestly ignorant. It's ignorant to this whole thing. Put it this way. I had 20 pounds of fluid in my body. My eyes were yellow. I was drunk every single day. Not one person in my family was like, you're a full-blown alcoholic, until that day came that I fell down drunk in a dugout of a professional baseball game. That was the moment. Up until that point, everyone tries to rationalize, and it's not their fault because nobody wants to admit or nobody wants to fully embrace the fact that somebody they love and are close to has this addiction, has this alcoholism. That's what it is. So for people to sit back and say, you should have noticed, it's like, why? No one else does. That's
Would
the
you
whole
have?
point.
Like, who knows?
No,
Yeah.
that's why this whole thing is so goddamn difficult, how to navigate it. If you do know and you don't want to piss him off, you might send him over the edge. Austen's not at fault. Austen is no way, shape, or form at fault. The fact that he's addressing it now is so important. The fact that he has this outlook is so important. And it's something now that he can help Craig through. And also, he's not giving him a complete pass, which I respect. He's like, now if he's being a dickhead, I'm going to be like, dude, what's up? Instead of just waiting for something to arise, he's going to bring it up. He handled this as well as you can. And people need to give him credit for it and not place blame on him, because that's ridiculous. This is Craig's problem.
Yeah.
Craig's handling it. Austen is now supporting because now Austen knows. Stop putting blame on Austen. That's really
and it's
stupid.
also a sense of like a lot has been lifted off of Austen after having this conversation, because it was very real. It was very raw. There was a lot of emotions involved, and they really addressed the elephant in the room that they didn't know that existed because they were butting heads so hard and being so stubborn that they finally broke through and got through it. Was it the perfect conversation? Are they immediately back to where they were? No. But it's enough that Austen can sit back and say, yeah, at least now I feel so much more comfortable and I can get back to him. Because if you look at them over the last like 6-7 months while Craig was doing this, Austen felt like he was being alienated. Like, I can't be friends with Craig anymore. So it's not my place to get as close to him and see this and show what he's doing and then talk to him about it. Now they had that conversation and he's like, all right, cool. I feel like I have my friend back. I have my best friend back. So he can get closer to him and be there for him.
Yeah. And he gets introspective and does something that's really important for people watching, is explain what we talked about last week again. Alcoholism shows up in 50 million different forms. It's not the dude, it's not me who was drinking the minute I woke up. That is what people label as an alcoholic. That's what Austen's idea was. So again, it's not his fault that he didn't see it, because he's thinking, if you were an alcoholic, you'd be drunk all the time. No, it can be you drink once a month, but when you do, you get in really bad situations. That's alcoholism.
Paige said that too. Paige said, the way that we were raised, when you're looking at something like that. Now, I do have to point one thing out. Craig sitting on the counter is diabolical. That is insane.
His fucking barefoot on the sink. It was disgusting.
Disgusting. What are you doing? Like,
it's
that.
Foul.
Paige and him should have broken up right then and there. I'm sorry, Craig. Love you, but
on the sink.
Don't do that. What are you doing?
Gross.
What the hell is that? You getting in there? You're gonna take a bath? What is this?
I knew you'd pick up on that. I was like, this is disgusting.
That's the picture for questions today too. So yeah, I've got a real point to make here. But no, I like the Paige, because Paige also has the opportunity of knocking Austen down, like knocking Craig away. And we've seen that, and we've debated over this, whether or not Paige is driving a wedge between Austen and Craig on her own, saying Austen is a bad friend of Craig. I need to get these two away from each other. So any chance I get that Craig brings up Austen, I'm going to trash him to try to get Craig away from him. People are putting that out there. We didn't actually put that out there. We said that she made some comments here and there, but Paige is just a ride or die person, to the point of, as soon as Craig starts talking positively about Austen, she's going to start talking positively about Austen. Same thing goes for if Amanda and Kyle ever break up. Like, we just watch the two of them have it out, then apologize to each other, get a hug, say, I love you, and I don't want to fight with you again, and I don't feel bad about it. And like, even Paige was like, I had this fight with you last night, but it didn't seem like the end of our friendship. It's just something that we have to break through. Yeah. If they broke up, the next day, Paige would say, fuck Kyle. I've always hated Kyle. That's how she is. Yeah. And the last thing I want to point out, I know we've been talking about this scene for a while. I just thought they did a good job of highlighting a lot of confusing things for people that aren't privy to it. Paige talking about our generation's image of what an alcoholic is, what an addict is. Dare from middle school did so much damage on us. Which is such a funny thing to say. All the moms that had Dare license plates.
Yeah, like they did such a bad job of depicting what this is, and they made it into this big demon where it's like, oh my God, if you're an alcoholic or an addict, you're a piece of shit. That was ingrained in us as students. So she's correct. This was the label that we were given or shown as children. So to break this cycle is even harder, especially when the generation before us thinks that if you're an alcoholic or an addict, you are a piece of shit because you're too weak to control your urges, which is also dumb. So I love how they approach this. I love that they hit the different notes of what an alcoholic means, what the label looks like now, this stigma that comes along with it. Craig getting to this point in his life where he recognized it and reached out to Paige for help. all of these things are integral in recovery, and but they've done as a whole. Bravo has done exceptionally better since the Shannon Bedore saga of how to represent people going through this. And I'm glad it keeps coming up because they have chances to rectify the situation when they did a really poor job previously. They've handled it much better in recent shows. So I'm really, really happy with what they did. But let's keep trucking because we got some more good news. Got some more good news on the horizon here because Madison's having a little vino with Tara, while our favorite man on Bravo, Brett, is outside playing water gun fights with Hudson. It's just so goddamn wholesome. I love this little family. But we got good news. The test came back. Brett, no cancer. Just got a spot, abnormal tissue on the kidney. They need to make sure everything's functioning correctly. But we're out of the woods as far as cancer goes, which is amazing. They're talking kids now. They want 3, 4, however many it takes to get a girl. It's just nice to see them back on like a normal life.
Yeah, we know from current events that Madison is selling her house. She is pregnant. She's selling it for $1.75 million too. It's a nice house, beautiful house,
dude. That little sitting room I hadn't seen that. I like that.
Yeah, we hadn't seen that at all. I love that. It looks so cool. So yeah, I will also point out every time that we see what is her son's name, Hudson. Every time that we see Brett and Hudson running around, they're always just squirting water guns at each other.
Dude,
like,
why not?
It's great.
It's just dudes being dudes. It's just it's guys being dudes, and we love to see it. We love to see it. It was a sweet scene. But don't worry, we're getting back to the bullshit because Venita calls JT up. They're planning a summer soiree. Madison and Dr. Ryan are doing a little before everyone goes away for the summer. Let's get together. Or season finale's coming up. We got to end with a banger. So let's have a party so things can go wrong.
I haven't done a whole lot this year. Let me really step up my game.
Yeah, I'm going to initiate a rumor in this episode as well as planning a party for everyone to jump in on this rumor. And she calls JT and says, I have a +1 to this party. I would like to invite you to this party. And, he's obviously timid to the idea because he's like, well, is the whole crew going to be there? Yes, they are, but you were going to be invited anyway. I just would like to go together. And during this, you get Venita with a little confessional, and she's like, JT's been so wishy-washy. And this is the part of this whole thing that we've been missing, because at this point, she is aware that he has a girlfriend. So we need to hear somewhere along the way her acknowledge this situation to keep her from being labeled a quote unquote homewrecker, right? Like you need to at least acknowledge that you're aware of the situation. And she does, because here's the thing. Does she know that he has a quote unquote girlfriend? Yes. At this point, it appears so. But he keeps giving these crazy mixed signals where it's it's putting her in an awful lose-lose situation, because he's saying things like, if I wasn't dating this girl, it would be you. Yeah. That's inappropriate. And that's not incredibly that's up to her.
And again, we have to do this. We have to do our audience the courtesy of reminding them that the timeline is skewed. It went Bahamas, then the dinner that we saw where JT came right out and said, I am dating somebody right now, so I don't want to be disrespectful. But he had already done what he did in the Bahamas, and he was dating that girl, and still went through with all of that. When 3 times Venita jumped on top of him, he could have just said right away, hey, I'm dating somebody. This is disrespectful. He didn't. He led her on in 15 different ways. And I feel like now, since we're now caught back up to current times and we don't have to question the timeline, I feel like what Venita is doing now is, hey, JT, I know that nobody else is going to ask you to come to this party because of how you left the Bahamas and because of the things that happened. We just had that conversation where you made it clear that you have a girlfriend, or at least you're dating somebody that's somewhat serious. Can you come with me? Because no one's going to invite you. I'm inviting you. And you can come as my friend. It's sort of like a self-friend zone is what I got from Venita. And like, yeah, of course, she still has feelings for him. I've tried to wrap my head around why she has feelings for him. I have no fucking clue.
Don't even waste your time.
Why somebody as beautiful as Venita would ever want to go after some dumbass like Jarrett. But here we are, and we still have to talk about it. I think she's trying to get him to go, and she's trying to be nice, but she's still being a little flirty because she has feelings, and that's fine. JT has to shut that shit down. You just can't do it. Like, yes, you can show up to this party as Venita's friends. You guys can be best friends as long as your girlfriend's cool with that. But you have to shut down any romanticism at all as soon as Venita brings it up. And that'll get her into a point of like, okay, I'm your friend. That's where we are. That's okay too. I just want to be here because I do like you as a person. I don't know why again, but I do like you as a person. So I want to be around you and make sure you're okay. That's what I thought this was. I thought this was a good stepping point after the conversations that we saw where Venita can kind of ingratiate herself as a friend to JT, who he doesn't have any friends left on the cast.
That's interesting. I didn't get that at all.
Oh, okay, cool.
I do. Here's the thing. I do see what you're saying. If I look back at that scene, like I'm not like there's no fucking way that was it.
I think I may have like had a predisposed condition going into this where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give her a lot of benefit of the doubt here and just say this is a friendly call. I think I may have had that going into this conversation.
Which is fine. And look, I will always and forever be on the soapbox of justice for Vanita. I'm not going to vilify her in this because, again, she's single. And people have said, like, oh, that makes it okay. It's like, no. But when the guy continues to give you hope, what is she supposed to do? She has feelings for him. It would take a very strong person to be like, I'm completely done. And should she have done that? Yeah, probably, but she didn't. And that is his job to actually do that because of the situation he's put her in, saying things like, if it wasn't her, it would be you. It's like, that's fucking weird and fucked up to say because you're still leading her on. And in this moment, your cause of concern for not going to the party is, I don't vibe with the group. Your cause for concern, your immediate response is, Venita, I have a girlfriend. I can't go as your plus one. That's the correct response from JT. Not let me have a night to think it over because I don't know if I'm cool with the group. Because once again, you're telling her it's not the invite that's the problem. It's the people there. More false hope. Like he doesn't even know he's doing it at this point. It's just he doesn't want to completely cut it off because he likes feeling wanted. That's what the root of this whole thing is.
He's putting her in purgatory and he knows what he's doing.
Yep, he knows exactly what he's doing. Anyone that thinks otherwise is just ignorant to the situation, and it's completely inappropriate. Is Venita somewhat at fault at this point for egging it on a little bit? Yeah, I'll throw that out there. Do I put her in the villain zone? No, because she's getting fucked with relentlessly. So this is on JT still, and he had a chance here to really finally put like a close on it and give her closure and saying, dude, I can't. I got a girlfriend. I told you. I care about you. We can be friends. I'm not going as your plus one. That would be the appropriate response. He can't do that.
I will go with you, but you can't call me a plus one. Like you need to define those boundaries.
You have exactly define the boundaries now. Stop leaving the door open because she's going to continue to try to walk through it. Meanwhile, your girlfriend who went to bat for you on Instagram is catching shit for that from us included because you keep putting people in bad spots. Once again, we say it all the time with Jarrett. There's a common denominator in all of your problems, and it seems to be you, sir. So do better. I mean, or just fuck off. I don't really care actually what you do.
Yeah, that's really all we want. And we can kind of see this crumbling. I was really hopeful. And again, next week is the season finale and he's still going to be in it. I was really hopeful that he checked out a couple of episodes before so we didn't have to continue to see him. But I'm sure he'll be here the whole season. We'll see the blow up next week, which is inevitable. And he won't be at the reunion. So whatever.
I don't care. Like, that's the thing. Like, I know what we're going to do with the season finale. And it's like, I don't really give a shit about the blow up with TJ at all. JT, whatever his fucking name is.
Yeah. But before we get back to the rest of our episode, today's episode is sponsored by Acorns Early. And Steele, I don't know about you. I know you've got a couple of kids. One of them's a baby. So babies can't really spend money unless, well, maybe they can. But when I was a kid, I had this thing that was like an ATM card. It was a bank card. It wasn't actually a debit card. So when I would earn money doing chores or whatever, I would be so excited to go run to the bank, put my money in. And then I think I tried to use that bank card at like Dunkin' Donuts or something, and it didn't work. So I didn't understand what the hell I was doing. Do you have any plan or anything at all going on for your daughter?
I would like to set up a system where they have a debit card. I can put money into an account for them to be able to take that money and use what they want to use it on. I would also like to teach them about some savings, how the money works, how the bank works. I would like to teach them things that school should teach us, but instead we learn the Pythagorean theorem instead of how to use money.
That's a really good point. But I think right now what you need is Acorns Early. Acorns Early is a smart money app and debit card for kids that helps them learn the value of money. And they have a new feature called the Acorns Early's Chores Tracker, teaching kids that hard work does pay off. All you have to do is just set up the chores in the app and set a payment amount and tick the chore off when it's done. That's incredible because now it's going to teach kids when they're earning money, how they're earning that money, and they'll be able to track it themselves. And it also lets parents pay allowances automatically. Kids can spend what they earn with their very own debit card, which is going to be very exciting for a lot of kids out there because they can see their account grow just based off of doing their chores that their parents are making them do. And there's a lot of incentives in there. And parents can also keep track of where and when their kids are spending money. So that is super important because you can instantly block any lost or stolen credit cards. And we know kids, they're going to lose them because they are little idiots, and it's okay. But you can help your kids into saving into a habit. Kids can use their app to set their own savings goals, and they can even choose their own target dates and turn on the optional autosave feature to help them get there. I used to save for like this iPod Nano, and I remember I had no idea how much money I had. It would just like sit in a drawer, and I'd go count it meticulously like every 3 days. Finally, I got there, and I was able to get an iPod, and that was pretty cool. So I felt like that hard work finally paid off.
Yeah, you finally got an iPod last week.
Yes, I did. And are you ready to help your kids learn the value of money? Just head to acornsearly.com/bros-and-shows or download the Acorns Early app to get started. Sign up now and your first month is on us. T&Cs apply. Monthly subscription fee starting from $5 per month unless canceled.
But we get Taylor and Molly, a new friendship that blossomed in the Bahamas. God, it would have been nice to see some of these friendships coming together, you know. Wouldn't it be great to actually give Taylor a fair shake and allow her to get back in better standing with the whole group and allow us to see that? Wouldn't that be nice?
That's the thing. And I know a lot of people, and we were of the thinking that Taylor doesn't really belong on this show. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for her to stay here. They kept her on for the whole Shep thing in Austen last year. I get that. It would have been a nice, fresh start for her to start on Southern Hospitality as like a friend of or something like that. It seemed way more in line with where she was going. But I actually have to applaud her because she was able to put all the bullshit aside. Like, yes, you can still complain that Gaston isn't anywhere near it. I'm okay with Gaston not being anywhere near this cast from what I
don't need to
I'm
talk
cool with it. If Taylor doesn't even acknowledge that she's in a relationship and she just becomes friends with these women, cool by me. That is
outstanding.
Huge. Great job getting back into the group after you thought everybody fucking hated you because they didn't really like you last year. But you were able to make friends with Molly, Sally, even Madison seems to be on your side. Keep that shit going because they will be friends. And if we know anything about this show, yes, the producers love to highlight all the dudes, but you can be friends with these women and it'll work in your favor. So keep doing that. You can stay on the show as long as things are pleasant. That's what I say.
Yeah. And it would have been nice to watch that happen. We watched it with Austen and Craig. Why can't we watch Taylor get back in the good? Like, that's been her whole hill to climb, and we missed all of it. All we get is cutscenes once again of her in the room, in the hotel, and all the girls are in robes or like their nightgowns or whatever the fuck, like having wine at the end of the day.
We're not highlighting
like,
Madison's pajama sets. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
That was her pajama sets. That scene was the pajama sets. Show that shit. Like, we show Loverboy on Summer House. We show Trop Hop every other scene. No shade to Austen. I'm glad he's getting a fair shake with the Trop Hop. But show the line. Like, what are we doing? Why must we avoid showing the women gaining ground on this fucking show? It makes no goddamn sense to me. But Taylor and Molly, like I said, deeper friendship, which is great. Taylor's in a good spot with everybody, which is awesome. And amidst this conversation, you get Shep coming home from Cuba. This guy's life. He left the Bahamas. Was like, I need a break from this vacation.
I'm already down here.
Cuba.
Yeah, I'm going to go fishing in Cuba.
Which, I mean, there's a little jealousy here because it would be lovely to be able to just bop and do that. Yeah. But at the same time, it's just funny. And like, he gets back and I'm glad he acknowledges, you know, like, yeah, I'm a spoiled brat. I always get what I want, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, okay. At least you're self-aware on that end. And he's like, in the Santa stuff really sent me for a loop. And I will say there's times where he gets somewhat philosophical. Sometimes he overdoes it, but there is times where it kind of lands. And I'm like, all right, you know, that's actually true. And he's like, sometimes it's good to get your heart broken. You know, it's good to feel the bumps and bruises. Like, this life is your tapestry. And I'll look back fondly. I'm like, for an idiot, you do say some smart things sometimes. And that is a good outlook. That is a good outlook. But
somewhat worldly.
Yeah, he's somewhat worldly. He's also a moron and, you know, not going to maintain this at all. But it was a nice scene. I'll give him that. That's all I'm going to say about it. But you get Taylor and Molly again, and they're talking about the Shep stuff. And I was like, this is a strong choice from Molly's end. Yeah. But this did so much good for Taylor with how she handled this conversation, I thought, because Molly's like, you know, this Shep stuff. I'm like, ooh. And she's like, I feel like I'm in middle school. It's all forced. And like, I'm embarrassed. Like, I obviously have seen people date Shep. I'm like, you're talking to one. You're really talking to one right now who thought she's going to marry Shep. But the fact that she goes to a confessional completely unfazed, and she's like, look, maybe Shep's like good practice. So she's saying like, yeah, if you do whatever, I don't care. For your sake, don't. But she's fully over it. That's huge. And the way that she handles this awkward conversation of, you're talking about my ex, who I thought I was going to marry, it doesn't even phase her in the slightest. I was like, she's back. She made it. Wow.
No, she gets it. And based off of her confessionals down in the Bahamas, while all of that weird, awkward situation with Molly and Shep was going on, Taylor seemed completely over it. She's like, yeah,
not my circus anymore.
Go for it. Not my circus anymore. You get to see Sienna and the fallout from that. That probably did her some good too, because at some point, yeah, she's happy that he's getting his comeuppance, but at some point she started to feel bad for him. So she is truly over it. If she's feeling bad for Shep going through all of that, and she's able to sit down with Molly, who I agree with you. I thought there was no self-awareness there. Like, ooh, right.
She doesn't even be like, ooh, sorry.
Come on, Molly. Like,
is this weird? Like,
so is this weird for me to talk to you about? No. Okay. All right, cool. I'm going to keep going. But yeah, you can kind of get an idea where Molly is, because we've been on this train for what, 4, 5, 6 weeks at this point, where Molly's
more
just
than
simping over Shep. Yeah, probably almost
Molly's simping over Shep.
That's pretty much what's going on. I mean, that is what's going on.
Well, like right here, it seems like she's kind of like, all right, but then we get.
I think it's more about like she's still interested in Shep.
It wants to be on her terms.
She feels uncomfortable that everybody else in the group is like, yeah, go for it. It's like,
yeah, kiss her.
Why are you guys pushing me towards him because of the Sienna thing? Or are you pushing me towards him because you like me and want us to do well together?
Just give her a smooch. Come on.
Give her a smooch.
Just kiss him. Just kiss him.
Now kiss.
But they do next week, apparently.
Apparently they do kiss. Now, all right. Let's figure this out.
Okay.
Do they kiss because it's organic, or is this like the entire table started like chanting kiss at them and they
appear to be sitting on a windowsill on a porch.
Okay, so it could be organic.
Yeah, exactly. Therefore, pointing to they're not with the whole crew, but they easily could have been like, fuck it, let's leave the group and just get this over with.
Molly's like, I haven't kissed a guy in like 2 years, and he's like, well, I'll kiss you.
Did you watch it?
It looked...
One was open mouth, one was closed mouth.
Oh, double kiss.
Yeah, so it was like, they're not...
We're going to have to bring in Steely ratings from The Bachelor.
Steely ratings from The Bachelor will come in and rate. I always rate the kisses on The Bachelor. So
completely unbiased, I need.
Yeah, I will. I will not take the trailer from next week into account. I will wait for the actual. Yeah. I will not be biased. I never am, especially because I have no teams in this one like I do on The Bachelor. But anyway, we get to Sally and her mom, and she's getting her implants removed because she did it for her ex. It's what she thought that he wanted, and she used to do all of these things because she was trying to get a husband. As we know, she's a very successful woman. She teaches doctors how to use surgical robots, which is pretty wild.
I'm annoyed that like we got this right. I liked it so much better when we were like, she's a robot doctor
that does surgery.
That was so much cooler.
I agree.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Why do we have to? There's so many people commenting like, this is what she actually does. You guys got it wrong.
Yeah.
Leave us alone, nerds. Let us have fun. Robot doctor sounds sick. Doctor
so
of robots.
Much cooler.
Cool.
Yeah. She goes in there to fix robots that perform surgery, and everyone's like, that's not what. That's the other thing too. The tone of those comments are like, you idiots. How could you think? Do you really think that we like there's times that we make things up and we just ride it out because we enjoy it. It makes us smile.
And I would call those people nerds, but honestly, it's us. We're nerds because that excited us. So get over it.
Do we think that she's a robot doctor? No, we genuinely didn't. We wanted her to be. Therefore, we perpetuated it for as long as we could until 80 people in the comments like, you guys are stupid. It's like, yeah, we know. We tell you that all the time. Just let us be dumb. Yeah, fucking let us be stupid sometimes. But anyway, it's cool to see her just kind of taking her life back and like living for herself now. She's no longer putting emphasis on doing things for other people, which is great. The doctor. Can we talk to doctor for a sec?
Yeah, let's talk about this doctor.
So he's inspecting her. And I don't know if this is like he sees this every day, right? So you'd imagine he's a little bit numb to the whole thing and professional. Sure. But when she's talking about them, she's like, are they supposed to be like this? And he's like, your boobs. He kind of fumbles for a second. He goes, your breasts look great. And I was like, whoa. Look, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a plastic surgeon.
At first, when he first started talking, I'm like, is this just like, is he weird? Like cameras in the room. This is the first he's ever done
Maybe.
this. He's trying to like not be overzealous. He's just trying to do his job, but he's being weird about it. And as soon as
Yeah.
he's like, they look great. Those look
It's like,
great. I'm like,
dude,
dude.
relax. That's not professional. I like again, never been in this scenario. I don't know, but
No.
that it felt the fact that he kind of got caught for a second and then followed through. I was like, oh, that felt not good. That felt-
Not good. Yeah, I didn't
felt
like that.
weird.
And their mom's in the room too. Like,
Yeah, he's
what's
like, "Hey,
going
look,
on here?
They look. That's what got. They look.
I
They
wanna
look
take
great. I
This
was like,
bit.
oh.
I want to take this bit further, but I'm not going to.
No, I don't think we should. I don't think we should. But like, I wrote it
Oh,
down.
one thing. Let me just do it. Well, your mom's in the room genetically. Like, what are we working with here? All right, now I'm done. I mean, the doctor opened himself up to this. This isn't our fault.
It was just a
It was
weird.
weird.
Maybe you're right. Maybe it was the cameras, and he was just like off. Like, how do I
guess.
respond to this professionally? And instead of doing it professionally, he gets too emphatic about it.
Yeah.
Wow, wowzers!
Yeah.
Like, hey, Doc, settle down, bro. What are you doing? It's just, it felt weird. I
It
felt
so
weird.
I was so
I was like,
awkward during this scene.
I was so uncomfortable after,
He
especially
made
after
me
he said
uncomfortable, by
that.
the way. Let's
Yeah.
make that very clear.
Very
He
clear.
made me very uncomfortable.
The
I thought this was like a
doctor.
routine thing. Sally's been talking about it for a while. Really excited for Sally. She posted something on Instagram about her journey going through everything. The doctor made things weird, and it made me
Right?
awkward.
Thank you. Yeah, this has nothing to do with her. I'm glad she's sharing
No.
her journey. I think it's awesome. Doctor made it weird. Do better, Doc.
Yeah.
And I wonder if he's like me. That's my best case scenario. Is he was just like off guard with the cameras and was like, "Fuck," and he watches this scene back and he's like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! I can't believe I said that."
Oh my god, dude!
It was so fucking weird. But let's get to Craig, Paige, and Austen. It's the first hang since the reconciliation down in the Bahamas, and we're getting some quality time, which is lovely to see. It's actually funny hearing Paige kind of riff on it a little bit. I didn't mind it.
Mhm.
Did you get the sighting? Did you see the Spritz sighting?
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, we got a Spritz sighting on screen.
got a
It's
Spritz sighting on screen. We also got, I don't know if you caught this, a 0% Guinness that Craig was pouring out there.
I did not.
Yeah,
I did not. Maybe I will join you on your quest to. I don't understand the point. Maybe that's why I'm an alcoholic.
Guinness is
like,
good.
what's
It's
the
not
point?
like a like when you used to give me shit all the time for drinking like IPAs and like stouts and stuff. It's
Yeah, 'cause
not
you would
really
order,
like that.
I know what Guinness is, dude. I'm saying
No, I know,
Guinness
but like
Zero.
it's not the same thing as like drinking a like
Oh,
a
I got you.
10% stout or something. It's
Yeah,
actually
when you
pretty
used to
refreshing.
get those
weirdly
fucking
refreshing.
stupid beers in
The
like
weirdest
a
thing that like
chalice.
I try to wrap my head around is our friend Phil is from Jamaica, and he said down in Jamaica they drink Guinness extra stout like all the time. And I'm
Really?
like, that doesn't seem like something I would want on
Like
a
a
hot day. He's
tropical
like,
beer?
it's weird. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I do know like Guinness from other countries tends to like I know in Ireland people have told me I didn't drink. I've never been to Ireland. But people have told me you don't get nearly as like blah with Irish Guinness as you do like in the US.
You haven't. Now we're just breaking down the history of Guinness. I'll help you guys out. So that used to be the case when it was shipped over here. They used to have to do more with what was being shipped, and that would
Okay.
make you feel like bloated. But now they
Yes.
have an actual Guinness plant down in Maryland. So it's
So
actually using the right recipe, and we're getting much better Guinness, especially on tap. So
there you go.
it's a little history
Interesting.
for you guys.
Here's some more history. You know what their
Yeah.
first beer was?
What?
My favorite beer was Schmittix, spelled Smithwick's.
I love Schmittix.
I loved Schmittix because it's kind of
Yeah.
like Guinness Light. It's got that Guinnessy-ish flavor, but they made
Steal that
Schmittix.
from people's parents' fridges.
We did. Yes, we did. We
Yes, we did.
certainly did. Yeah, that
Won't
was my
out
favorite.
any
beer.
names, but we did.
I could out about 3 different people right now. I'm not going to. But
Oh yeah.
anyway, back to Craig, Paige, and Austen. They're recapping the Bahamas, and it's nice to hear Austen open up in front of both of them, say, this disconnect really broke my heart.
Mhm.
And, not seeing you guys, like you would be here in Charleston, and I would hear from Madison that you guys were hanging out, and like that sucked. And this is where you get the
Yep.
line from Paige where it's like, look, I love you. I love our friendship, but my loyalty is to Craig. So if Craig's fighting with you, then I fucking hate you too. Fair. And that is
Very
like
fair.
you've seen it. The thing with Paige that we always give her credit for is like what you see is what you get. She doesn't mince words. She stands firm and she stands on business always. So
She talks behind people's backs, but she'll tell the person that she's
to their
talking about
face.
2 minutes later. Like, yeah,
Yep.
we were having a discussion about how shitty of a friend you are.
Yeah.
So that is what you get. And we've always appreciated that about Paige.
Yeah, I've always respected that about her. But they're discussing Audrey. Austen's girlfriend of 6 months at this point. They said the L word to each other. But this was interesting watching this conversation take shape because, as we know, the breakup is on the horizon. We are a week away from seeing it, which means it happens within probably a week of this moment. Which
No,
is
I don't think so.
no. You think did they pick up cameras again?
So the breakup, as we've heard, it's not like really official
Oh,
until like
November,
Thanksgiving, but it
right? It was
happened in like
November.
October is
Thanksgiving.
probably when
No,
we're
it was
thinking.
Thanksgiving. It was Thanksgiving right
Well,
before
that was
Thanksgiving.
the official breakup, but it was apparently it happened before Thanksgiving, and Craig was still
It
keeping up
happened. I got the
appearances.
timeline. If you shut up,
You shut up.
I know because you shut up. No, the timeline. They broke up right before Thanksgiving because I think they were
Okay.
at Paige's house and they broke up. He needed time to put his story together or whatever. He didn't want to come out and say it. So she was like, okay, take your time. And then after Christmas, he was on a trip and he was posting things that made it look as though he was single.
Okay.
She
Yeah.
took that as okay, we're doing it then. And then she announced it. That was the
Okay.
breakdown that she came out with.
All right. Well, I think this conversation, because Southern Charm finished filming it like June, so I think
This
it's a
has
few
to
months
be,
before
yeah.
that. Yeah.
This has to be right after.
I think they
I
picked
don't know
up
when.
cameras just for the one day so that they
Yeah.
could talk it out with Craig, Shep, and Austen.
You're correct. You are correct. But as they're talking, this is literally Austen talking about their relationship without talking about their relationship. Because he's like, I don't have the need to get married, because that's what Paige asks. Like, do you have this like timeline in your head? And you can tell she's poking at Craig a little bit. And he's like, nope, I don't have the need to get married. I'm not even going to bring it up or even think about it until we're like 2 years in. And she's like, isn't it crazy that like after 6 months, Craig was talking about me moving and like, you're just seeing the complete disconnect because personally, I don't think there's an issue if you're dating somebody from New York and you're in your 30s to earlier on, like 6 months in, be like, hey, would you move here? Because if not, what the fuck are we doing? I think that's appropriate. And like it's built upon by Austen because Craig brings up the kids. He's like, well, can you talk about kids at 6 months? And Austen's like, we talked about kids. Like she wants 4. And like,
it's like they're using Austen's relationship 6 months in as not only a litmus test to
like
kind of compare to what they were doing, but it's also to sort of jab at each other almost.
Yeah, they're taking pokes.
They're taking pokes at each other through Austen's relationship. And I love because Austen's just answering genuinely. And he's like, yeah, we actually just started talking about kids. She wants 4. She met my parents. We get the flashback of, her hanging out with Austen's parents, talking about the whole thing. She seems really nice. I hope they're still together. I don't even know. They were the last time
they are. No, they still are.
They still are good. But yeah, Austen's just answering these genuinely, and you can tell the camera's going back and forth between Paige and Craig because this is about a lot more than just talking about Audrey. It's like,
this actually has nothing to do with Audrey.
We're not even. I'm actually not even listening to you anymore, Austen. I'm using you as a gateway to get back to Paige, and vice versa. Yeah, that's what's going on here.
100%. And when he says the line, I actually like that she lives in Charlotte, and she's like, preaching to the choir. I'm like, you guys are done. You guys are done. Just call it now. Like it's so clear. And even Austen's like, I'm kind of uncomfortable because like, are these two taking shots? He's like, this isn't the usual like calm, cool, collected. There's a lot of disconnect between these two to the point that he says they are on such opposite sides of the life spectrum. Like, it's not a great place to be 2.5 years into a relationship with somebody you plan on marrying. So the writing again is on the wall. And if this is June, that means they kept trying this shit until November. We saw
and we just watched that Summer House last week at the Australian restaurant was probably like a month after this. So they're still going through all of this. Like we're watching their downfall in a very weird timeline, but it's all piecing together.
Which is fucked to say.
Thing. We have watched this relationship for 2 years. In the last year, prior to both of these seasons, it was infuriating to watch the two of them talk because producers forced them to talk about their relationship. We could always see, the writing's on the wall if they don't figure this shit out, but we always left it open because we liked them together. But in the last year, we're watching this and we're like, oof, you guys are finally talking about what it is that means to be in this relationship and what you guys want from it and the timelines associated with it. And now it's all falling apart. You could have had this conversation, and I know, it was probably a fun 2.5 years. A couple years from now, maybe they'll feel the same way. But you guys could have had this conversation last year when Paige's
Dude, they could have had it at
podcasting
6
and everything
months.
just
They
started
could have had
taking
it at
off.
6
Like,
months.
yeah. Well, that's what we talked about on the Summer House episode. I don't think it was a conversation that, like, yeah, I think Paige would have said one day and Craig would have said one day, but he meant like tomorrow when it comes to having kids and moving to Charleston and having a slow life. But Paige's podcasting career really didn't take off until, you know, close to a year before this was filmed. So like some point last June.
When they hit like superstardom was probably within the past years. Like when they really, not that they weren't massive, but I'm not belittling what they were before, but the jump they've made to now, you know, for the first and last time, probably hosting the Vanity Fair red carpet because Hannah Berner fucked them. They've gone from, you know, cult following to hosting events on national TV.
Correct,
so like the blow up is insane. So maybe you're right. Like the conversation probably would have been different earlier on, given what's happened with the podcast. But just seeing Austen like clock it as the third party, watching those two use Austen as like a soundboard to just bounce there, like this is my problem. Well, this is my problem. Is Audrey doing this?
It was funny. Objectively, it was funny. And like because we know how it ends, so and we're already over it. We've processed their breakup. It doesn't hurt anymore. It really hurt when it first happened, but it doesn't hurt anymore.
No,
I got over it. So now it's funny. And
I'm cool with it now.
Comparing the timelines and then just using Austen as a tool for this is very funny.
It was just, and also watching his reactions, like like just looking back and forth at them. Like,
once he realized what was going on, he's like, I don't. Stop asking me questions.
I'm gonna go look at the bees again. Where are the bees? I'm gonna go hang out with the bees.
Get in the pool.
Yeah. I don't know what to do with my hands. But the end of this episode is wild. Venita wakes up and calls Leva, and they're discussing something that had happened. Venita got a phone call from Dr. Ryan, who was getting his haircut at the barber. And the barber said that JT was in here saying that some black girl has been coming on to me, and my girlfriend's going to be so pissed off. When they said that, my head immediately, I'm like, we shit on JT relentlessly for reasons that he deserves. I didn't believe the bitch comment. I don't believe this comment. This just, it's so far out of left field. I was like, there's got to be more to this story. I'm not jumping on the bandwagon of, oh my God, he did it again. I'm just like, oh, that's weird. This doesn't track for me, even for a guy like JT. Like, he doesn't say racist shit, I don't think.
No, and it didn't track for like Ryan being the one to call Venita was weird. The whole situation
there
was
could have
just
been a breakdown
bizarre.
In communication, I guess, because the barber does say I might have said that.
Like it definitely was, and it sounds like it was. It really gets back to the barber, but like the whole thing is now really messy. Because it gets back to Ryan, who shared it with Venita, and Venita's upset, and JT's upset because of what was said specifically.
And Ryan's married to a black man, so that makes it even more in depth.
And look, and I do understand, you know, like you wouldn't say if there was a girl on the cast, like you were talking about you being on the show, when he's sitting down with Leva, just kind of going through everything, and Leva brings it to his attention. He's just like, yeah, I mean, I said this or that or whatever. It's not like he would sit there and say, yeah, that white girl on the cast is coming after me. Like he wouldn't do that because that, you know, that's not really how it works. So you don't have to say that black girl on the cast is coming after me.
You can say this cute girl on the cast.
Yeah, you can say the cute girl on the cast.
Correct.
Like that part of it, I do fully understand. And like, you shouldn't be saying shit like that.
Nope.
But I didn't believe that he's like, yeah, some black chick on the cast is like coming on to me and my girlfriend's going to be pissed off. That didn't make any sense to me. It doesn't seem like JT's a lot of things, but that doesn't seem in line with his character.
No. And when he gets to this conversation with Leva, you know, you get the 30 minutes later and they sit down and, you know, they recap the Bahamas, obviously. And I'm glad that she brings up the fact like, hey, do you think that you might have led Venita on a little bit?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I mean, you know, he kind of just skirts around it. He somewhat takes accountability, but not nearly enough for me because he's still like, you know, I don't think so, blah, blah, blah. Like, he should have just said, yeah, you're right. I need to pull back from this whole thing. So fuck him for that again. But they get into the barbershop thing. And he's like, obviously has a visceral reaction to it. They call the barber, which I'm really glad they did. And I'm glad they didn't cliffhang us because I thought they were going to. Yeah. And the barber speaks.
Him calling the barber speaks so loud too, where he's like, no, I didn't fucking do this. Let me call the barber right now on camera, on speakerphone. It's like, okay. As soon as he did that, and like, because I thought we were going to get, you know, next week, whatever, or Leva's just going to kind of go, he said, whatever. He called the barber right away. I'm like, okay, he's very confident that this didn't happen. It probably didn't happen.
But what the barber says, it's not what was originally said, but like you just pointed out, you don't have to highlight the fact that the one black woman on the cast is coming on to you. You can just say some cute girl on the show is coming on little
One of the
strong or
girls
like
on the
is
show. You
interested
don't
in
even
me.
have to describe who it is if that's what you're
No.
doing.
So it's not completely clean, but
No,
it does carry less weight than some black girl on the show, which
correct.
again, I didn't think he said that. I'm
But
glad that he called the barber.
that's the loss of communication. So I don't know. The result of this is JT's pissed off. I get the generalization. JT's mad that people are talking about him, the conversations that he's having it get back to Venita, who's going to be upset about all of this, having it potentially get back to his girlfriend that he was talking about this. Like all of the things, I get why he's upset about that.
Sure.
What we got from the barber, the way he's talking, even the barber said, I may have fucked that up talking about it. I may have changed the words a little bit. Maybe that's on me. I believe that.
I
It
did too.
probably went from JT saying what he said to the barber, who then regurgitated it for whatever reason to Ryan,
another barber.
because Ryan's also on the cast. And now Ryan is sitting here like, oh, yeah. Ryan went to Venita to go tell her this. Fine. If you felt like you needed to go do that based off of what you heard, I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong,
I
especially
think
with your
that's
husband
fair
being
to
black.
do.
I
Yeah.
think that's fair. But the barber admitted that he said it. So JT can't really be mad at Ryan for telling Venita that.
Correct. That's what I thought, because I was like, this is on the barber. This is on
Yeah.
the game of telephone that happened within the
I
barbershop.
mean, it's on
is where
JT for sharing
lies.
this. And I get like you tell your barbers and like your hairdressers, you talk to them a lot and you tell them a lot of things. I get that. But like, if you have a girlfriend, you shouldn't be talking about a girl coming on to you.
No.
At all. Shouldn't
No.
be allowing the girl to come on to you, but you shouldn't be talking about
Yes.
it to a third party.
Like that shouldn't be occurring, sir.
Yeah.
First and foremost. But second, why are you talking about it? And
Right.
third, the best point you made, this is not Dr. Ryan. Dr. Ryan heard this. The barber clearly said, I might have fucked this up in translation. So, of course, Dr. Ryan's going to call Venita, because
Yeah.
he just heard this awful line from the barber and he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm not okay with that. And he made a call. So for him to now be on a warpath, it's like, no, dude, tell your barber to not talk about your shit. That's where the problem
was so
lies.
quick to forgive the barber too.
Let him
like,
off the
no,
hook
we're
like
good.
that.
This isn't about you. It's like, it is about him.
He's the one that caused this problem. Dr. Ryan was relaying what he heard. He has a black husband. He is friends with Venita. This is a very problematic statement. For him to hear that and then take action is not crazy.
And then to immediately call Venita, I get, and I understand that you're upset and you want to talk to her about it. Clear the air, fine, whatever. But now you're on a warpath. Going at Ryan?
No, but like the scenes from next week kind of show what I think that's going to be the root of the conversation, because Ryan's like, I'm defending myself. And it's like, I think you have a case here to be like, what did you expect me to do? This is what I was told. So I took action. I don't fault them for that. So I think JT's anger isn't even so much at Ryan. I think it's just this group as a whole. And Ryan was just the straw that broke the camel's back.
But let's get to some questions here.
Vamos a preguntas. And there's Craig's foot on the sink. Blech.
Yes, it is.
Did anybody in here clock that?
I hope so. Oh, yeah. JB the Hut 713. Do you sit on your counters? As a cook, I find it off-putting. No, I don't sit on my counters. I am not a child.
God,
I feel like
I love our...
Yeah, our listeners are the best. But the only time that I see somebody sitting on a counter is if a child got a boo-boo and you're cleaning the boo-boo.
Yeah.
Sit up there on the counter.
Well, Poppy climbs up to get ingredients
That's
to make,
fair too.
She likes to make her lunch and stuff. But yeah. Oh, see, from right here. And I'm not coming at you, Daria_PNG, because it is confusing. But did you guys see Craig was holding a bottle of champagne while talking to Austen? Hopefully, how we discussed it earlier, hopefully clears it up a little bit. But
yeah. From Jess Brum, real question: why didn't JT just say to Venita that he can't go with her because he has a girlfriend? I don't know. Because
that would have been the correct thing. Because
Yep.
he likes to have his cake and eat it too.
Mm-hmm.
From Mary Bailey _84, Craig admitting his addiction issues and facing it was powerful. It was, and credit to him for doing so.
Yeah. From Christine D. Philippus, watching both Southern Charm and Summer House, do you think either show is giving Craig or Paige a good or bad edit, or is it Jerome? Jerome is a funny one too for Jeremiah.
Jeremiah. You can any name that sounds like Jeremiah, you can throw in there.
If we've talked about the edits, it looks like, yes, it does look like Southern Charm's editors are giving Craig a little bit of a better edit, but at this point now, and obviously we use recency bias in a lot of the things that we do, in the last 2 episodes of each, I don't think that either is getting a good or bad at it. It looks like they're just giving us the information that's there, and I think that's the best way to do it.
But this is also a shift. Jerome is no longer part of this show. We talked to some people close to the show, and at this point,
Yeah.
he had been relieved of duties. And some people were left to try to pick up the pieces after the fact. So this is a different editing team entirely. From Hildita La Del Barrio. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Paige heard nothing after that foot went on the sink. Thank you. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, C-Rate Fam 6. Do you think Paige decided to break up with Craig after seeing his bare feet on the counter? Yes.
You
Yes,
guys get it. You guys all get it. It's so awesome. From Ali Vargas, did we catch the Spritz product placement? We sure did. We saw it. Let's do 2 more.
I got one here from Aang Ziskin. Are the cast members actively trying to sabotage JT, which he could easily do himself? She put in the quotes. I think he has already started to do that himself. He hasn't done himself any favors. He's an asshole, and the cast members do not like him for the most part. Leva seems to have a soft spot for him. Venita obviously likes him, but everybody else outside of that doesn't. You know what's actually really funny? When he's sitting down with Leva at the end, and I caught this, and for whatever reason, it made me laugh. When he's going through the group, and he's like, I'm so fucking sick and tired of this group coming after me. They're besmirching my name. They're shattering me. And it's Austen. It's besmirching. He didn't actually say that. But it's Austen. It's Craig. It's Madison. It's Sally. And I'm like, what did Sally do to you? You called her the other woman.
You called her. Yes. Sally's not involved.
Just like, leave her alone. She wants nothing to do with you.
Started it, bro.
I thought that was so funny for some reason. I'm like, dude, like you called her out. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and like the last one, just to reiterate this point, because it is an important distinction, from Jess Brum. JT in the wrong, had a girlfriend, didn't tell Venita, clearly told his barber, black girl, regardless of the word used before, he is getting what he dished last year. So, yeah, like at the end of the day, how he described Venita was inappropriate. He didn't need to say it that way. I will say, like, again, the connotation of some black girl and a cute black girl from the show is slightly different, but at the end of the day, there's no need to throw that in there. You can just say some cute girl from the show. So he was not completely exonerated, but it's not the other one clearly
not nearly as bad as what it
like,
sounded like originally, but yeah, it's still not right.
No, it's not right, but like, you know, we'll leave it there. But yeah, you got anything else?
Nope.
That's all I got, and that's our show. Bro's gotta go.
Yeah.
Oh, my back. God, every time I sit like that.
Every time.
Bye, guys.